It might be NFL season, but there's been some very impactful NBA news over the last week or so that's going to affect the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm Jake Chipper. Thank you so much for watching today's Philadelphia 76ers Now. And look, as I mentioned, over the past week, a couple of big news items have happened in the NBA that will impact Philly. First, Cam Thomas has signed his qualifying offer with the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, one of those restricted free agents that had yet to sign a deal. He is the first domino to fall. So how does that affect Quentin Grimes' situation? Plus, what is going on with the LA Clippers and Kawhi Leonard? Clippers are being accused of circumventing NBA salary cap space through his contract. Of course, Philadelphia owns some future draft picks from the Clippers. So what could the fallout from that be? How might that impact Philadelphia? We're going to get into all that here on today's show. And let's start with Quentin Grimes. Now, as I mentioned, he was one of those kind of big four, if you will, restricted free agents that had yet to get paid this offseason, as these restricted guys really have nowhere else to go to get paid other than their own teams. And their own teams really have no reason to give out a bunch of money and go against themselves per se, right? So now he has signed his deal. Cam Thomas has taken the qualifying offer with the Nets. That still leaves, of course, Quentin Grimes with the Sixers, Jonathan Kuminga with the Warriors, and Josh Giddey with the Bulls. We also have an update on Josh Giddey as well that will impact Grimes that we will get to here. Now, before we dive too deep into this Cam Thomas situation, I want you to let me know down in the comments section, how much money do you think Quentin Grimes is worth per year? On a per year basis, 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, whatever your number is, let me know down in the comments section. So the Nets actually gave Cam Thomas 3 different offers, and he ended up taking the cheapest of all the deals. The Nets offered Cam Thomas a 2-year, $30 million deal with a team option on the second year, $15 million average annual value. He, of course, didn't like that and probably didn't like the team option on the back end, so he didn't take that deal. They also offered him a 1-year, $9.5 million offer. The catch, though, is that he would be able to be traded in that contract. Instead, he takes the 1-year, $6 million qualifying offer, the cheapest on an average annual value out of all the offers he got, but he received the no trade clause, which comes with the qualifying offer. So clearly here, Cam Thomas wants to be a free agent next offseason, but he also wants control over where he plays this year. He doesn't want Brooklyn to be able to just send him wherever they want. He wants that no trade clause in particular. You can tell that because they offered him a 1-year, $9.5 million deal. That's more salary than the qualifying offer, but he did not take it. Now, why is that, right? Why would Cam Thomas want to take less money to ensure that he has say over where he's traded, if he's even traded at all? Well, for someone like Cam Thomas and his unique situation, right? And it's a little bit different from Grimes, and I'm going to explain that here in a second. He's coming off back-to-back years of averaging 20-plus points per game. Now, last year only played 25 games, but put up 24 a game, 43% from the field, 35 from the three. The year before that, 22.5 points per game, 44% from the field, 36% from three. Did play 66 games in that year. So he's put up some big numbers. So ideally, he's looking to cash in for more than what the Nets are offering him. So how can he continue to get his value up the most? It's probably not by signing with the Nets and then being traded midseason to a team where, let's be real, he's probably more of an ideal sixth man. I think he believes his value is best putting up a bunch of points on a bad team for the Brooklyn Nets. Now, is he right? Is he wrong? That's, really neither here nor there. At the end of the day, he's going to put up numbers on a bad Brooklyn Nets team, and he wants to be in a situation where he can put up the best counting stats possible so he can cash in next offseason when more teams are projected to have cap space than this offseason. So that's why he was valuing that no trade clause. Now, how does this affect Quentin Grimes? I think his situation is a little bit different, right? I think Grimes, it doesn't make sense for him to do what Cam Thomas is doing here and taking the qualifying offer, because I don't think Quentin Grimes is in a situation to put up better numbers than he did last year. I don't think he'll even put up the same numbers that he did last year for Philly when he put up over 21 points a game at the end of the season. There's just too many bodies, right? You assume everybody will be back healthy. Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, you draft VJ Edgecombe, a lot of bodies in there at the guard position. And although I think he can make a bigger impact in winning games this year, at the end of the day, if he is looking to cash in, I think it makes much more sense for him to take a deal now that's more than his qualifying offer. Now, Quentin Grimes' qualifying offer is $8.7 million, more than the $6 million for Cam Thomas, but I think it just makes more sense for him to take a deal that is paying him more than that qualifying offer, because he's not going to put up the same numbers he did last season. Now, Josh Giddey, he is looking to cash in, and it seems like he's going to get the most money out of all these restricted free agents, and the Bulls are actually increasing their offers to Giddey. Bobby Marks reported the Bulls increased their previous offer, are now offering Josh Giddey a 4-year, $88 million deal. It comes out to about $22 million per season. However, Giddey is still looking for closer to $30 million per season. Last year, put up 14.5 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 46% from the field, almost 38 from three. But in the last 25 games of the season, when the Bulls actually did start to win some games and really do nothing but worsen their draft position, he was putting up 29 and 8 on 49 from the field, 45 from three. I think, he's probably not a $30 million per year player. There's a reason that the Thunder traded him away and immediately won a championship, not solely because they did that move, but they needed someone like an Alex Caruso who fit that team better. I think Giddey's a good player. I think he should be making $20+ million per season, and I don't think Grimes will quite reach that level. So there's a chance that Grimes looks at what Cam Thomas is doing and says, man, you know what? Maybe I'll just take the qualifying offer and be in a similar position and then try to cash in next off season. But I don't think that'd be smart. I don't think it would be smart, because I don't think he'll put up the same kind of counting stats that he did at the end of last season with Philadelphia. But we'll see. One of those dominoes has fallen. Will that now cause some of these other restricted free agents to get some deals done soon? Sixers training camp begins in about 3 weeks, so they got to get something done here pretty quickly. My prediction, I think he will sign Quentin Grimes a 3-year, $45 million deal with a player option on that third year, about $15 million average annual value, and he can still cash in while he's relatively young in a couple seasons if he does opt out of that player option and still play for the Sixers for the next couple of years. You let me know, what would your offer be to Quentin Grimes right now? Years, money, average annual value, any options in there? Or would you just want him to take the qualifying offer? Let me know where you stand with Grimes down in the comments section. Now we're going to get to what's going with the LA Clippers, because it is a crazy situation and it does impact the Philadelphia 76ers. We'll get to that here in just a minute, but first, got to give a big shout out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is DraftKings.
Game on! Week 1 starts now, and every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This isn't just football. It's first touchdown fireworks, anytime touchdown rushes, and live bets that ride every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SixersChat. That's code SixersChat to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
And with NFL Week 1 quickly approaching, I know the Birds already took a big dub over the Dallas Cowboys. Here are some of my picks for this Sunday's action. Give me the Giants money line over the Washington Commanders. I think Washington could take a step back this season. I think the Giants, although they might not win a lot of games, they will be better than they were last year. Give me the Giants over Washington. I'm also taking Colts minus 1.5 over the Miami Dolphins. I'm not a big Dolphins fan. I think they're due for a not very great season. And the Colts, I think, are a little bit underrated. A solid team, good defense, quarterback's a question, but I'll take them over the Dolphins. And then give me the Raiders money line over the New England Patriots. No Christian Gonzalez for the Patriots, probably their best player. Two teams that I like, and I think will be better than they were last year. But give me the Raiders in this one. Ashton Genty with a big game. Of course, all lines and odds are subject to change. Thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's show. So let's get to this crazy situation with the LA Clippers. Pablo Torre, formerly of ESPN, now a terrific sports writer, TV host, podcast host, all that, does a fantastic job covering just sports in general. Fantastic journalist. He dropped a new episode of Pablo Torre Finds Out and really dove deep into his details, his investigation into a secret $28 million off-the-books contract between Kawhi Leonard and the LA Clippers. It's very, very detailed. A lot went into this. I'm not going to be able to break down every little thing, so I do encourage you to go check out that episode if you really want a full deep dive into this entire situation, because it's very crazy and it is very nuanced. But basically what has happened here, Torre's investigation centered on a tree planting green bank and brokerage called Aspiration, and a very big company back in 2021 was valued at over $2 billion, backed by popular names like Robert Downey Jr., Drake, Leonardo DiCaprio, even Doc Rivers. But in March 2025, Aspiration's co-founder was arrested, and just weeks after his arrest, he was arrested for conspiring to defraud an investment fund. After his arrest, Aspiration filed for bankruptcy. When they filed for bankruptcy, this is where Torre went in, looked at all these different documents, and found out that the company still owed money to Steve Ballmer and the LA Clippers, but also owed over $7 million to a company called KL2 Aspire LLC. And this is where things get interesting, because KL2 Aspire LLC reportedly had a $28 million deal with Kawhi Leonard on their books. But Kawhi Leonard never showed up in any marketing events for them, had no connections to this company at all. Yet they had a $28 million deal with Kawhi Leonard. Basically, Torre talking to people within the companies, trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. They revealed, the people at Aspiration and the people at KL2, that the deal was essentially designed to circumvent the NBA's salary cap space and pay Kawhi Leonard. This is by far like the biggest deal this company had ever made. Even some of these other investors, they were not paying anybody nearly as much as they were paying Kawhi Leonard. And so it's sketchy, right, to say the least. Now, of course, Steve Ballmer, the Clippers, they're denying this all right now very aggressively, saying that this is not the case, saying that they were tricked as well in this whole thing, and that this company and going into bankruptcy and the fraud, that it has nothing to do with the Clippers. But look, to put it in basic terms, Kawhi Leonard got paid $28 million by this company to do absolutely nothing for them, which does not look good for Kawhi and for the Clippers. So the NBA is going to investigate, and I assume it's going to be a pretty lengthy investigation, a very, very detailed and tricky thing to try to figure out, and we'll see if anything does come of it. But what could come of it? There's a possibility that Kawhi Leonard's contract could get voided. Now, that's kind of a worst-case scenario, but look, if the NBA does find out that the Clippers did knowingly use his company to circumvent the salary cap space and give Kawhi Leonard an extra $28 million, his contract could be voided. Back in 2000, this is the last time a team circumvented the salary cap, the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2000 did a similar thing, circumvented the salary cap. David Stern, the NBA commissioner at the time, fined the team $3.5 million, voided 2 players' contracts, and stripped the team of 5 future draft picks. So the NBA does not take these things lightly, and I assume Adam Silver, depending on what he finds, will not take it out lightly on the LA Clippers. So bringing this back to Philadelphia, right? How does this impact the Sixers? Sounds like it's all about the Clippers, right? Well, remember, Philadelphia owns the Clippers' 2028 and 2029 first-round picks, unprotected in 2028, and they have the right to swap with the Clippers in 2029. Now, don't worry, the NBA would not take those picks away from the Sixers. They wouldn't punish Philadelphia for something that the Clippers had done. Those are already in the Sixers' possession. The NBA would not take those away. They would maybe take away other draft picks of the Clippers that they do own, or again, possibly void Kawhi Leonard's contract. But look, if picks are taken from the Clippers, or even if Kawhi's contract is voided, this would be big for Philadelphia and terrible for the future of the Clippers. They're already a team that, is very old, led by Kawhi Leonard, James Harden. They bring in a Brook Lopez, a Bradley Beal, a Chris Paul. They're a very veteran-heavy team. And so who knows what they look like in 2028, in 2029, even if this whole scandal never happens. But if something does come of this and Kawhi's contract is voided and terminated, or if their picks are taken away, that just hurts their future even more. Really could have an impact on what those picks look like for Philadelphia down the line. A crazy situation. We'll monitor this. I imagine it's going to take a while until we get a full resolution here. Appreciate you all tuning in, watching today's show. If you are not already, be sure to hit that sub button for more year-round coverage of your Philadelphia 76ers.